All right, this is our third and final segment for today. Welcome back again, guys, for our new agent training, working with buyers. Kudos to you, Joy. Kudos to you, Kristen and Curtis, and all of you for walking through and doing your role plays. You did a phenomenal job. This last piece here, we're going to just discuss how we present the fees to our buyers when we're talking about what the commissions are, what the brokerage fees are within the confines of the buyer consultation. And Mr. Porter does it in such a masterful way. Mr. Porter, I want to have you to role play for us this piece where we talk to the buyers about those expenses that they're to expect. Because
this is Curtis's slide right here now.
Okay. Curtis, Mr. Porter, go ahead. Either of you, both of you, somebody, I'd like to hear you go ahead and share with Joy and Kristen how you handle this.
Okay, well, so if you want to go back one, so we're at the top of the slide. So in the printed out version, guys, a lot of times it's one sheet, but because of the slide, it breaks it up into two pieces. So what I always will tell folks is as we're going through the buyer consultation and, we figured out why they want to buy a home, here are the benefits of buying a home. For me, that's why Shay was like, this is my slide. For me, this is one of the more powerful slides in the packet, in the presentation. The one that we were working on before kind of sets everything up. And this is really where we're going to break down the actual home buying process. It's also the slide that we're going to talk money. So a lot of times, we're kind of setting up the buyer, not setting them up, but like really letting them know this is a big purchase that they're going to make, one of the biggest ones in their life. You're going to write checks, you're going to spend money. And then when we get here, this is kind of where we're going to break everything down. And part of that is we want you to be fully aware of the process. We want you to know upfront what kind of monies that you are going to be spending, so there are no surprises. So this slide to me is it's very powerful because it truly breaks down the home buying process. It also touches on the 1031 that we have at Porterhouse, which again is a powerful tool, not only for our clients, but for us, that we're not driving all over the place showing 40 houses and they're not writing an offer. So that 1031 is all in here. So one of the things I'll do is literally kind of just go through, the first thing that you want to do is find a realtor that you can trust. And I'll wave and I'm like, well, especially now we're zooming. I'm like, hopefully that's me. And then, next thing is to obtain a financial pre-qualification or pre-approval. I was like, you met my guy, Michael Cooper. He gave you the golden ticket. So, we got you pre-approved. We know exactly how much home that you can buy. So there's no guesswork, especially in this climate of a market. You might be pre-approved for 400,000, but we might have to be looking at properties more around a 350, 375, so that we have to write a very aggressive offer. And we're gonna have to go over what the list price is, but we know exactly how much money and how much home that you can afford. We're going to analyze your needs in the buyer consultation, which we're doing right now. So again, this is really managing the expectations of the process. Buying a home can be very stressful. I'm not saying that it won't be 100% stress-free, but we want to mitigate that stress as much as possible. And that's why we have all of our clients do a buyer consultation. So we're going to set up after this call, after this presentation, we're going to actually set up your property search. With that being said, very aggressive market going on out here. So in the beginning, you might have 40 homes come to your search. You might have 80 homes come to your search. What I want you to do is sit back, get a cup of coffee, or a cold drink, or whatever you want, and go through the properties. Take your time, really get a beat on what's going on in the market. And then I want you to narrow it down to your top 10. And if it's a couple, I'll be like, so now you guys got to fight over those 10. What's your top 3? And then you're going to send me those addresses or let me know like, hey, Curtis, I would like address A, address B, address C. I will pull them up and research them a little bit because the market is so crazy. There's been times where I've had clients that wanted to buy or look at a home and it was still on the market when they saw it. By the time they showed me the address and I pulled it up, it was already under contract. So the market is extremely aggressive, which is why you only want to look at 3 properties. So once you have those 3, I'll kind of make sure they're good to go. I'm going to set up the showings. I will meet you at the first home, and then we'll meet you at the second home, etc. However, what I want you to know is once you get that warm and fuzzy feeling and you feel this is the home for you, we're going to write an offer. With that being said, there's some key things that I'm going to need from you when we do write the offer. One of them is going to be your earnest money deposit, or your EMD. We want at Porterhouse at least our clients to put up at least 1% of the purchase price. With that, if we're looking at a $250,000 house, 1% of that would be $2,500. All I'm going to need from you is literally a picture check. You're going to go home. You're going to write out your check. I'll send you all the instructions on who it needs to be made out to, etc. But basically, it'll be made out to
when you went past 197.
It'll be made out to Porterhouse International Realty Group for $2,500. You're going to snap a picture with your phone, text me the actual check. I'm going to take that check, and then I'm going to actually insert that into your offer. What the earnest money deposit is it's a way to show the seller that you're serious and that you're willing to put skin in the game. That money doesn't leave. So there's nothing that's going to really happen with the check. It's just a good show of faith. Because the way that I present your offer is I'll have your lender letter, your pre-approval that we got from your lender, whoever that might be. If it's Michael Cooper, cool. But whoever your lender is, we'll have your lender letter. And then right after that, they're going to see a picture of the check. We want at least 1%. If you're willing to do more, that's great. What this earnest money deposit is, if our offer is accepted, essentially that's like the first down payment. It's the first part of you putting money on that property. So once everything's negotiated and they accept our offer, it's called ratification. So we are formally under contract for the property, which is great. They accepted our offer, we are ratified. And so the next slide is how everything else is gonna kind of keep rolling. So once we're ratified, you'll see in the box the upfront monies. So now at this point, I'm going to need to get the real check from you for the EMD. So you can go to your bank. You will get a check for that amount. So in our instance, it's $2,500. And then at this time, I'm going to also need a cashier's check for our brokerage fee of $795. So once we write the offer, our offer is accepted and ratified. Then I need 2 checks. The one for the earnest money deposit of the amount that we kind of agreed on and put in the offer. And then what we charge at our brokerage, the $795, which is our standard brokerage fee. I'll meet you. I'll get.
Quick question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the earnest money deposit, that could be a personal check, and the broker.
No.
They're both cashier.
Yes. Yep. We need cashier checks for both. I believe, and Sherry, Jasmine can jump in. I want to say we can do the brokerage fee with the regular check.
No, always cashier.
Everything's cashiers or certified funds. And the thing is, if we require certified or cashier's check from one person, we got to be fair and equitable across the board. So if we don't accept personal checks for one, we don't accept them for anybody. So certified funds or cashier's checks.
Okay. Yeah. And Kristen, this is kind of part of the I need the earnest money deposit and I need the brokerage fee. No question. I just say it. I know in the beginning I was a little hesitant to ask for the brokerage fee of $795. was hesitant until I got burnt without receiving my 795 a few times. And now it's just what it is. You're going to need 2 checks.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. So,
And
Curtis, quick question for you. So the brokerage fee has to be paid up front. It can't be paid at settlement.
so if you're getting real pushback, I
Okay.
don't have the 795 or I don't like, I'll be like, okay, I mean, I'm not gonna jeopardize the transaction, but then I'll let them know, like, if you don't have the 795 right now, that's no problem. We'll take care of it at closing and it'll just come out of your closing costs then.
Right. And so, Joy, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Joy. If you do the buyer's consultation extremely well and you're pushing on those triggers, you're letting people know, hey, you're going to write. Remember, I told you the first thing to shake their tree about is money. You're going to write some huge checks. You're going to write checks that you've never written before. I just wanted to get that through you. You're buying a house. You're not buying a car. You're buying somewhere where you can park your car inside of. So you're going to write checks that you've never written before. It might make your head swim, but you're going to be fine. Every homeowner goes through the same experience. Most of them say they don't have the money, but they get it because they're going to get their house.
Mhm.
So you're using all of those analogies, the big bag of money, the leverage. See, that's when all of those things come into play, because when you get here, you're talking about a little bit of money. This is that little bit of money that I told you that you're going to get a whole lot of something for a little bit of nothing. This is the little bit of nothing. I'm going to need 2 checks from you. One is going to be for your 1% earnest money deposit. The other is going to be for $795. They have to be cashier's checks and they have to be turned in ratification. I need them up front.
And I'd like to add something to that. Those are excellent points, because that's how you're going to get that money up front. I want to remind us, like Mr. Porter always says, your license says salesperson. So every last one of these fees, you are selling them to the buyer. And with regards to the earnest money deposit, one of the things we say with your EMD, like Curtis said, there's no, no real loss of any kind with putting down the earnest money deposit. But a big selling point for the earnest money deposit, the language you can use is how we were talking about equity in your home? Well, your earnest money deposit is the first part of the equity in your home. So you come right in, with that down payment being the first part of the equity in your home, and your earnest money deposit is the first part of that down payment. So you're selling them on adding equity to their home. So if it's a 1% earnest money deposit, 2%, 3%, whatever that looks like, you're showing them how you've walked them through the process, and now they see a value added for the earnest money deposit. So they see it as a benefit and not a loss. Okay. Same thing with your break. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Same thing with your brokerage fee, right? So you are providing them with the fiduciary, everything that we talked about. You're providing them with your expert level knowledge. You're walking them through the entire transaction, whether that's 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, or a year, which hopefully it won't be. But in the event that it is, you're walking them through the entire process, and they get your expertise throughout that entire time. And what you share with them is, and I'm going to negotiate on your behalf with the seller to pay my commission. So if you're purchasing a property that costs $12,000, $400,000, that's a $12,000 commission that's not coming out of your pocket. I'm going to ask the seller to pay that on your behalf. So you get my full expertise. I'm committed to you as my client, and the seller is going to pay my commission for you. And the only expense that I have for you upfront is that $795, which is the brokerage fee. And I negotiate everything else on your behalf. Now, of course, if there is like a 0.5% or something left over, then that'll be your expense. But by and large, the seller is going to pay for me to represent you. Mr. Porter, you have something to add there?
Yeah, I was just going to say again, remember, more is less. Less is more. So, if you have to go into details, go into details. But the way Curtis is doing it, he's assuming the sale. He's just moving through it. So these are the fees. This is what you have to bring. You need 2 cashier's check. You just explain to them what has to happen.
Yeah,
if anything, if you get pushback from anything, then you start explaining. But it's better to assume that they like, trust, and believe you at this point. You've already shown them your expert knowledge. You're walking them through the process. This is what has to happen here. This is what's going to happen there. These are the monies that you have to pay up front, and then you're still going to have to bring your closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank. And I'm gonna need 2 cashier's checks, both made out to Porterhouse. I'll let you know when you need them. So get that money together.
Yep. And that's for me, that's the, the EMD, I'll explain, and, I want to break that down, the picture, I want them to know the EMD, 1%, brokerage fee, $7.95. And then, so now you're going to complete the mortgage application. There's no, I'm not $7.95. Is that okay? Do you want to, no, brokerage fee is $7.95. And once I get that, I'm going to make sure it goes into the proper escrow account. Now we're at the, so I don't know if you guys want me to keep rolling or.
Yeah, keep going.
I have a question.
Yes.
You guys were talking about the EMD, especially in this market, offering a higher rate, like a 2%. So as a listing agent and as a seller, is that something that you look at, this buyer wants to offer a 2% EMD, they're even more serious, you know what I'm saying? Do you?
So they're not going to know, and this is why the buyer's consultation is extremely important, which has started off our day, right? So we have to discuss why we would want them to offer more or less of an earnest money deposit in this current environment. So that's going to be one of the strategies that you're going to say, and Curtis might even say it at this point. Now, typically we say 1%, but in this kind of market, you might have to go up to 2 or even 3% down, just for us to get our foot in the door. So I want you to be prepared to know that you're going to have to give me that cashier's check, which is going to be for $9,000 earnest money deposit. The great thing is that $9,000 is just held in escrow, and it's going to be the first part of your down payment when you go to closing. So that money's coming back to you at closing, but it's also coming back to you in the sale of your house, because that's the money that's going to be the amount of equity that you've already put in your house. So you're not walking into your house broke, meaning that you bought the house for $250 and you owe $250 on it. You're going to owe $250 minus that $9,000. Your $9,000 is going to be the equity that you have in your house.
So to add to that for your question's sake, Kristen, the answer is yes, it is a big deal on the listing side. Because if you're the listing agent and or the seller, then it shows you, like Curtis and Mr. Porter were saying earlier, how serious this buyer is. So if you have a buyer that's offering $250,000, another one offering $250,000, one of them is, giving you a $7,500 earnest money deposit, the other one's giving you a $500 earnest money deposit, you can very well see which buyer is most serious about purchasing your property, and that is a factor.
Mm-hmm. And I would have kind of gone into, I touched on it a little bit on the previous slide with the pre-approval letter that, hey, you're approved for $500,000. We can't look at homes at 500 because someone out there is writing an offer for 525, for 530. So kind of starting to manage the expectations of how the offer is going to be written up. You're approved for 500. We know that's our ceiling. We might have to look around 450, 475. So I'm starting to talk money strategy.
Yeah.
And that's when I would also now segue right into that EMD, which is also part of our strategy, to get under contract, to look attractive in the pile of offers, because it's an aggressive market. A lot of offers are going to come in. This is how we're going to look a lot stronger for that listing agent to see, oh, wow, the home's listed at 450. They're willing to come in 425. They have a 2% EMD. They're, conventional finance. Now they're salivating. That listing agent is salivating because but at this point we're setting them, we're really setting the stage for how we're going to have to look at homes, what kind of homes, the money, that's going to be written. Yeah. So, yeah. So rolling in, when we get to complete the mortgage application, what I like to tell buyers is at this point, we're under contract, we're ratified. Not going to pop champagne yet, but you can put it in the fridge, start chilling it, because we're under contract for the home. We're going to save the champagne for closing. But what's going to start to happen is you're going to work a lot more with your lender. So I don't know if you're super tech savvy, or if you're not super tech, get a folder, make it a bright color. You can make it a red folder. And what I want you to start doing is putting all the information that your lender is requiring from you, your pay stubs, your bank statements, just put it in this folder, because they're going to keep asking you for the same information over and over again. So I'm just going to prepare you for it. The good news is the more they keep asking you for the same pay stubs and bank statements, it means that we're getting closer to settlement, which is a good thing. So just get a folder. I always prep folks, and I've had clients over the years tell me, like, I thought about that folder when I kept getting those calls asking me for the same information. So at this point, get a folder and get ready to kind of have all those documents. If you have a thumb drive or whatever, flash drive, put it on there, whatever's comfortable for you. Once we're ratified and we've, gotten the EMD and the brokerage fee payments from you or checks from you, the next thing that we're going to have to do is set up your home inspection. In this market, it's very, very aggressive, as I've been saying. So more than likely, we're going to kind of have to go in as is, where we're going to acquire the home or buy the home without really having the home inspection, but we still want you to have your home inspection. At Porterhouse, very big on you walking into that home once you buy it, knowing exactly what's going on with the property. A lot of times it is, the sellers are saying it is strictly sold as is, but we still have some negotiating, and we want you to be 100% comfortable with purchasing the property. So what will happen, we'll immediately schedule your home inspection. We have a list of inspectors. I have a gentleman I've been using for years. The inspection ace, Mr. Wimbush, phenomenal home inspector. We're going to set that up immediately. So now everything becomes very time sensitive. We have about 5 days to get the home inspection completed, and then we can go back. If there's something major, we can let the seller know. If it's very minor things, looking at, paint, or like, this doesn't look good, or it ain't gonna fly. Property is being sold as is, but exactly what you're getting in the property. So Mr. Wimbush, he will do the home inspection as well as the termite. And then moving along, we're going to go to secure underwriting. So we recommend, or we have a company we use called Velocity Title. So there are going to be the ones kind of scrubbing and cleaning to make sure that Uncle Joe in North Carolina, who's, his sister's selling the house, he wanted to have first dibs on the house, and now you bought it. And now all of a sudden, 2 years later, here comes Uncle Joe knocking on the door like, hey, this is supposed to be my house. No, nothing like that will happen, because we're going to make sure that your title, your deed, all of these things transfer right over to you. So when you do take ownership, you do get those keys in your hand, you own the property. So as we're moving along, kind of just, insurance and utilities, this is things that your lender is going to make sure that things are switching over, and we're getting closer and closer to settlement. And I can't see the bottom of the slide, but this would kind of like be wrapping up the bullet points. Again, as you get closer to it, to settlement, they're going to be asking you more and more detailed information about your finances, which is a good thing. It'll be annoying. And that's kind of where we'll segue into the 10 commandments, and which is the next slide, I believe. Anybody? Any questions? Anything so far?
No.
No? Cool. Jasmine, you have any question or any input or anything? Because we could go to the next one. I know we're starting to get, short on time.
It's okay. So we're actually going to wrap it up there for today, guys. We're going to pick back up on next Thursday. You guys have been phenomenal. Kudos to all of you for your role play. Kudos to our trainers for today as well. I want to make sure that we get you guys out just a little bit early. Hopefully you will take some time and go back through this buyer consultation. We went through some of the most pertinent slides, but every single page within this abridged version of the buyer consultation is essential for you. So you have these tools that are available for you in your Broker Mint library as well. Let me see if I can go here. In your Broker Mint library, you'll be able to find both your abridged version as well as the full 51-page buyer's guide, right? When you're doing your Zoom buyer consultation or the one in the office, you're going to use this version because this is for the sake of presentation, but you are going to send the full buyer's guide to your buyers so that you can prep them. They'll have it. They'll be able to look through all of the notes. They'll be able to see the full information that you're going to show them in part. Okay. So go back through it, print it out. Like Curtis said, take your notes, take everything that we've done today and mark it up so that you guys will have extensive notes there. And we're going to do some more role play. So Kristen and Joy, you ladies are going to role play with each other. And then I would love to listen in on that to, you know, see how far you've come. And I am just confident that you ladies are going to do a phenomenal job there. So let's pick up on next Thursday and you ladies enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for carving out the time to be a part of our training today. And I look forward to your feedback. All right.
Good job, everybody.
Yes. Great job.
Great job,
y'all.
Curtis. Great job.
Great job, Realty Pros.
Yes, indeed.
Enjoy the weather.